They say a legion disappears when it's slaughtered, a clean end, a red-soaked field, a name etched into history. But here, there is no field, no blood, no end. Only silence, a silence so complete it hums beneath your feet, in a place where even memory rots slowly beneath the moss. This is where they vanished, not in battle, but in forgetting. The moor doesn't bury bodies, it swallows time. But what if it disappears? Because it was remembered too clearly, because the land itself couldn't forget, and wouldn't forgive. I am Caius Artorius Drusus, 30, scarred, forged in 20 years of marching steel. I carry the ninth's standard in the grooves of my face, scars like map lines, eyes the color of cold iron. I march with the 9th Legion, into the fog, into the north, into the end of the world, and into something we were never trained to face, silence that breathes and earth that watches. And I did not return, not all of me. Rome believes in roads, straight lines, conquest with a destination, measured steps, perfect discipline. But beyond Hadrian's wall, the land curves, it folds, it breathes, it waits, not for surrender, for memory. They sent me to lead a new build, escort the engineers, survey the land, clear the ghosts. Fresh start, they said. New stone, but the stones here already know names, and blood, especially Roman blood. There's something in the fog. Not just mist, memory, thick and old, it clings to your armor, seeps through the seams. The first night, I dreamed in languages I'd never learned. I woke whispering a name I didn't remember, until I saw her. Branwen. She didn't walk through the trees. She stepped out of them like she had grown there. First, her silhouette, tall, lean, tangled in shadow. Then, her eyes, pale as river ice, staring not at me, but through me. She wore a tattered gray cloak that seemed spun from fog itself, and her hair hung wet with morning mist. She didn't make a sound. The forest moved with her. Branches parted. Birds stopped. The wind itself bent around her form like it feared her. She stood in the clearing's edge, backlit by shafts of cold light, her fingers twitching with unreadable intent. She smelled like peat smoke and rain. A scar curved down one cheek like a blade of runic ink. When she finally spoke, the trees leaned in to listen. Not a name, a wound, a story with skin. She told me the 9th still marched. Not forward, downward, not in daylight, in shadow, under root, under soil, under silence, and that I was still among them. We found a door, not stone, not wood, not Roman. The earth itself had split, a wound in the world. It called to us, and like fools, we answered. We entered like victors. We became echoes. One by one, the lines dissolved, not with screams, but with silence. Soldiers beside me began to blur, not fade, blur. Their bodies bled into the fog. Their armor seeped into the soil like ink on wet parchment. I reached for my brother in arms, and my hand passed through mist. His face had no features. His name, gone. We became echoes, living reflections of a memory the land refused to let go. Our voices, hollow, our steps, weightless. We moved, and the ground forgot we had. There was no enemy to fight, only something watching, deep below. Watching and remembering. Rome never prepared us for this. Not for the moor that thinks, that dreams, that judges, that remembers older things than empire. The forest began to take them, not with violence, like with forgetting, one by one, like they were being unwritten. First the youngest, then the proud, then the ones who mocked the trees. They simply stopped being seen. Their tents still there, their gear still folded, but no names, no footprints, no memory of who they were. Even their comrades forgot, as if the land had whispered them out of existence. I started waking up with dirt in my mouth, blood under my nails. Ravens perched where none had been. I spoke to them. They answered in the voices of men I once commanded. Words I never learned spilled from my teeth. But I wasn't alone. Branwen returned again and again. She said the 9th never died. They changed. They sank beneath history, became part of the dreaming world. A story that keeps retelling itself. And I was their anchor. Their last witness. We were not men. We were memory now, trapped, endlessly looping. And Rome, glorious Rome, was too proud to know what it had birthed. They think walls keep the wilds out, but the wall was never a barrier. It was a warning. This land does not bow, it buries, and beneath every Roman stone lies something older, angrier, and awake. We dug trenches, marked foundations, and everywhere the ground wet red. No wound stays closed here, no secret stays buried. Time ran strange, mornings came with no sunrise, nights stretched for days. Voices whispered our ranks, not in Latin, but in languages from beneath the world. Branwen marked me, not as man, as message. She carved into me, not wounds, warnings. Rome must forget what it found, but I was built to remember. Memory isn't just recall, it's a place, and I walk it now, forever. Each step, a name lost. Each breath, a scream folded in moss. They called us conquerors, builders of empire, but this land, this moor, it calls us offerings. It builds no cities, only graves, and if you listen closely, you'll hear us. A hush in the heather, a footfall you swear you imagine, marching beneath your feet, still, always.